012-1. This is 16 WAPT News at 10.
Murder manhunt reward.
We're not worried about him. He come to the wrong place. He won't make it back to the county.
The city of Vicksburg offering cash for Raphael McLeod's whereabouts. Plus, Newiton, a long-standing Mississippi judge, retires due to health issues. And a state trooper almost killed in a standoff talks about his near-death experience in a 16 WAPT exclusive.
Maybe a little patchy fog tomorrow morning. If there's any fog around, it will burn off quickly. Sunshine gets us into the 60s by lunchtime. Looks like we'll top out near 70. We're getting started with a stretch of 70-degree days. Find out all about it coming up.
Tonight, officials in Warren County are still searching for an escaped inmate. I'm Ryan Houston. Authorities are offering $7,500 for any tips that lead to an arrest. Raphael McLeod has been on the run for 3 days. He held a guard at knife point, stole his keys, and clothes to escape. Officers say McLeod raped and killed 69-year-old Sharon Wilson last year. Now police are warning people in the area to be on alert.
If, in fact, your tip leads to the arrest of Raphael McLeod, you will be awarded up to $2,500 from Crime Stoppers and $5,000 from the city of Vicksburg.
I don't care who finds them, what have I just hope the man know what I'm saying. I hope something be done by them because, like, when it comes down to these women deserve to be protected.
Personally, I'm not that worried because I have my enhanced carry license, so I've always got my gun with me.
Here's another look at McLeod. Take a good look at this picture. Officers say he is armed and dangerous. If you see him, call police. Family and friends will gather tomorrow for the funeral of the first black deputy sheriff in Rankin County. Robert Griffith died on Monday. He was 97 years old. He retired from the force after 25 years of service. His funeral is tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the True Vine Missionary Baptist Church in Brandon. Presidential candidates are making a last-minute push before the Mississippi primary. 16 WAPT's Ross Adams reports they're trying to get voters to the polls.
Campaign volunteers are manning the phones.
I'm a volunteer here at the Hillary Clinton headquarters in Jackson, Mississippi.
Making a final pitch.
I'm a volunteer for Donald Trump's presidential campaign.
To get out voters to the polls for Mississippi's presidential primary. Hillary Clinton's husband and the former president of the United States came to Jackson Thursday to drum up support for his wife.
And then Bill came to town yesterday, and it's just the momentum is building right now. And so right now, we're just basically skyrocketing up until Tuesday.
Clinton's opponent, Bernie Sanders, hasn't made a stop in the state, but that's not stopping his campaign from going after black and Latino voters.
You're targeting every demographic.
Targeting every demographic, trying to make sure every corner is covered in the state.
John Kasich is making a big push for Republican votes in Mississippi, even though polls show him lagging far behind.
I think they're going to say, wait a minute, we want a reformer, which is what I am, kind of a troublemaker that goes to Washington, which I did, and I want to go back and fix it, and I have the record of accomplishment.
GOP frontrunner Donald Trump's visit to Madison one day before the election could be one of the biggest political events of the year.
It's a whole lot of fun to be working and getting out the vote for Donald Trump. And, of course, our phones lit up yesterday because, as you know, he's going to be visiting us on Monday.
That was Ross Adams reporting. The deadline for early voting in Mississippi is tomorrow at noon. Congressman Greg Harper stopped by Channel 16 today, and he endorsed John Kasich for president.
Encourage people on the Republican side to vote for Ohio Governor John Kasich, who obviously, if you watch the debates, is the adult in the room.
Donald Trump held a rally in New Orleans tonight. Okay, so tomorrow is the Louisiana primaries, and Trump made a last-minute attempt to win over voters. During Trump's intro, some protesters tried to interrupt, and the crowd wasn't having it.
And I noticed right in the middle of his little speech, there was a protester right over here. Did you get him out? Okay, good. Good, I love you guys. I saw my people. Put up your hands. That protester had a hard time. He had a hard time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Trump was interrupted by protesters several times. He talked about the media's coverage of him and how he wanted Mexico to pay for a wall. You can keep up with all the candidates coming to Mississippi by using the 16 WAPT News app. It's a great tool to use before you head to the polls. You can download it for free from your phone's app store. The attorney suing the governor over the state flag filed new paperwork in court this week. Attorney Carlos Moore says the emblem violates the 13th Amendment of the Constitution. He says the emblem used by some Confederate troops during the Civil War is a vestige of slavery. Moore filed a lawsuit on Monday saying the flag violates equal protection guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. A hearing will be set. Governor Bryant calls the lawsuit frivolous.
He has filed, I think, an inaccurate lawsuit because he's asked the governor to provide remedy that the governor cannot provide. I cannot issue some executive order and bring down the state flag.
The governor says only lawmakers or voters can decide to change the state flag. A Mississippi judge is stepping down after almost 40 years on the bench. 84-year-old Marcus D. Gordon is the longest-serving judge in the state. He presided over the trial of Edgar Ray Killen. Killen was convicted of murdering 3 civil rights leaders in 2007 in Neshoba County. Judge Gordon also sent the Scott sisters to prison for 2 life sentences for an $11 armed robbery. Governor Haley Barbour later pardoned those women. Judge Gordon retired due to health issues. A state trooper is recovering at home after being shot in a standoff. Lieutenant Trey Staples nearly bled to death in the same shooting that killed narcotics agent Lee Tart. 16 WAPT's Keegan Fox sat down with him for a 16 WAPT exclusive.
It happened early Saturday morning, February 20th, the end of an hours-long standoff with an armed man barricaded in a home in Tishomingo County. Officers moved in and bullets started flying.
I felt what the injury was, and I recognized it. And I knew I was dead when it happened. I just knew I was dead. I wish my buddy would have made it.
A bullet hit SWAT team member Lieutenant Trey Staples in his leg. It ripped through his femoral artery and severed his femoral vein. Team members pulled him to safety and helped him tie 2 tourniquets to stop the blood gushing from his body.
I was getting so weak when I was losing all that blood, and I just knew if I just wanted to close my eyes, but I knew if I did, I would never open them again.
Staples somehow never lost consciousness. He didn't know 2 of his teammates, DeAndre Dixon and Bubba Holyfield, were also shot until he saw them in the emergency room in Iuka. And he didn't know MBN agent Lee Tart died until he woke up from surgery.
It hurt me.
Staples realizes his severe injury that night, coupled with the fact of being shot in a rural area, could have been his last moment on Earth.
The only reason that I'm still here, able to sit here and talk to y'all, is because of God.
He's the last of the 3 wounded officers to be hospitalized, and now doctors say Staples is finally well enough to go home and begin rehabilitation therapy. He says he, along with Dixon and Holyfield, are overwhelmed at the support rolling in from all over the state, from those they know and from strangers.
There's not enough that I can say. I just wish I could hug every one of them.
There's no timetable for when Staples will be well enough to return to the Highway Patrol, but he will. And he plans to be an active member of the SWAT team, even though it almost cost him his life.
There's no way that I'm going to sit back and watch my brothers go into harm's way, and I'm not going with them.
It's a bond that no one else understands. In Jackson, Keegan Fox, 16 WAPT News.
Now, Trooper Staples returned home today and received quite the warm welcome. People lined the streets of Laurel today, and businesses had billboards that read, "Welcome home." People in Flowood honored those wounded state troopers with a blood drive today. University physicians at Grants Ferry put on the event. Organizers say some of the employees know Staples, Holyfield, and Dixon personally, so they wanted to help the men in their recovery.
This was just normally just our regular blood drive we're having, but after what happened up in Tishomingo County, we decided to do this in honor of the Highway Patrol officers.
The blood will be held in the name of the 3 injured troopers. Jackson police are investigating a shooting on Ferguson Drive. They say one roommate shot the other in the leg. Police tell us the suspect left the scene in an older model green Grand Am. Paramedics took the victim to the hospital. Look for updates on this story at WAPT.com. New at 10 Madison police need your help finding a man accused of credit card fraud. Take a look at this. Officers say this man used a stolen credit card to buy several $100s worth of gift cards. These are surveillance photos from the Rite Aid on Highway 51. Police are offering a $2,500 reward for anyone with information that leads to an arrest. If you can help police, call Crime Stoppers at 601-355-TIPS. Several people missed their flights after rule changes at the Jackson Airport. The airport warned folks yesterday to arrive 2 hours early because of spring break. Now, we found customers today who didn't listen.
You missed your flight by how much?
2 minutes.
This morning I got to the airport at 5 and my flight was at 5:45, but the line for the security line was like almost out the door, so I didn't make my flight.
Airport officials say they've scheduled extra flights during spring break. They say you should arrive 2 hours early through April 9th. Very hard to watch. Students slapped. What happens after a school officer in Baltimore is caught on camera assaulting a student? Plus, a veteran's video goes viral. We'll tell you more about him and the dog coming up.